Welcome to this week's Fireside Chat with Jesse. I am joined today again by Daniel Levin, president of Liventus. Thanks for joining me, Dan.
Thanks for having me. I'm honored to be on again.
Now,
Just recording our conversations. We talk a lot, so might as well just
yeah,
record
yeah,
these things
we have
forever.
some entertaining conversations. So, like you said, might as well throw it out there on the internet for everyone else
We're like a band that
to
always
critique.
records, we should just record everything. And then you don't have to do these anymore on schedule. You can just cut them.
Unfortunately, I am not that interesting, and people would probably turn it off pretty quickly. But I mean,
Be
but then again,
surprised.
you got two guitars hanging. I'm not going to ask you to play this time, but you know, we're good.
Yeah. I got a
But
lot more on the other
yeah,
side of this thing too.
but we wanted to catch up. I think the last time I had you on here was probably this time last year, but just kind of wanted to talk about a few new things that are going on at Leventus. Most notably are the acquisition of SparkFlow, and what that means to the organization, and how can that product help support equipment finance organizations as well as some other just 2024 updates on the company, and then we'll get into 2025 kind of initiatives. So, we put out a press release a couple weeks ago regarding SparkFlow. Do you mind just kind of, introducing that organization, and why did Liventus purchase it? And then I guess just what does it mean to the organization?
Yeah, so a few years ago, we actually we acquired a firm called JSW Co. And it was a gentleman named Steve Walker who started a small software development company, and we acquired him, and we worked very well together. He still works with us. We had a great several years together, and we're going to continue to have several great more years together. But he had another company called SparkFlow, and it just made a lot of sense. It fit really well. We worked really well together, and we felt that there was a lot of power that product can offer a lot of different companies. It already was offering a great service to several clients and other companies, and we felt like it was a great product. There's a huge need for it in a lot of different marketplaces, especially today, and we felt it would be a great addition. And Steve has been and is a great person to work with. So it was just a natural fit. But now more than ever, companies are treating data as a product, in the sense that they're managing it. They're trying to centralize it. They're trying to really streamline it. And often at companies, data is installed on so many different systems, right? It's spread across a lot of different systems. It's locked up in those systems. They can't really get it out, relate it the way that they want to. And so unlocking that, right, and organizing it and relating it to each other is going to help you run your business. It's going to help you make data-driven business decisions and improve operational efficiencies, and even generate revenue from it. So that's what SparkFlow is for, right? It's going to give you the ability to easily create a centralized data repository, so you can aggregate all your data together. It's quick to set up. It's meant to really empower non-technical people to access and explore their data independently. So there's it's also pretty agile in the way that it's priced, and it's adaptable, so people can customize it. It has, reporting coming out of it that uh, you can use as either canned reporting, but it's also made to essentially be customized in a way. So it's very customizable. Uh, uh, Historically, doing something like this takes, or has taken, a very long time, right? So having a
Yeah,
product like,
build your own data warehouse, right? And then getting data out of the system into
right.
that.
And so this is going to speed up the process, and it's a great product, and there's a great road ahead with it, and there's a lot of new features and enhancements that we're going to be adding to it, and more flexible reporting, and all sorts of things. So didn't mean to ramble on a lot, but I think it's a great tool, and I hope that we can introduce it to the equipment finance industry soon, and other industries. So
Sure. I mean, it's definitely a need when we finally is this a data mart conversation?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
Walmart. There's Walmart, and there's Data Mart, and Kmart.
But
Yeah,
no,
but
I
I
mean,
mean,
I think.
there's go ahead.
Oh no, I was just like, I mean, data. I guess one of the challenges that I'm stumbling across, or what I'm hearing from a lot of people, is these softwares are just locking down access to data, and they almost want to like charge a king's ransom for people to have access to like their customer data. Like, is there ways around that, Dan, or could they leverage a product like this?
Well, I mean, no matter what, you're going to need access to the data. So if it's locked up and encrypted and proprietary, and you don't have access to it, you don't have access to it. There's not going to be a magic bullet for that. At
Sure.
least this is not that magic bullet for that. This is assuming that we can somehow get access to your data. Um,
Okay.
but uh, I think that, well, go ahead. What was the other part of your question? I don't. I'll
Oh no,
ramble
that
for
was
hours.
no,
Oh.
it was more of just a, people sit there and they have all this information. I mean, data's key, right? But if you can't massage it into exactly what you want, and I see people frustrated because it's like, oh, I bought this suite of reports, and what have we brought on? Like maybe 8 new clients this year that were just doing reports. Because while it's good to have can, there is some level of customization that people are going to naturally want.
So I kind of call that the data curiosity loop. I think that's actually a word or a term. Um, but it's kind of like, this insight driven discovery process. I always say, you give a mouse a cookie, they're going to want a glass of milk. Uh, you know, Data is basically, it's always going to act as a catalyst for further inquiry, right? So you're gonna have these canned reports, and then you're just going to have more questions about it, and you want to uncover hidden patterns, and you want to just find more insights, and it's going to amplify all of that. So canned reports just create more demand for further insight. So there's always going to be that customization need of some additional reporting, and that's okay, because uh, there's no simple reporting solution that's just going to uh, deliver everything for every company, uh, because every company does business in different ways, and what's important to one might not be
Sure.
as important to the other, or uncovering gaps just might not be as clear across all the different companies. So peeling back all these layers is going to be there's got to be some customization to it, and the analysis piece. I mean, one great thing about SparkFlow is the team that came along with it, and the people. They're incredibly valuable, and when you've got good data analysts who can help interpret the data and help you with the actionable insights, that's key, and that's quite valuable. Um, so yeah, so can reports, they get you to a place, and maybe they're okay to a certain extent, but if you're really trying to use your data uh, and make interpretations about it and drive your decisions, I know from my own experience, all I do is continue to ask more questions and continue to build more reports whenever I'm interpreting things and say, oh, hey, why
Sure.
is that like that? Show me the how we're getting to this point, or show me what's underlying here. And and that's a good thing, right? Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's to your point, that's just a little more customization.
Sure. Sure. And the way it's, I guess the way I think you mentioned, just the way it's priced. I think the pricing is adaptable to different organizational sizes, where it doesn't matter if it's a 5-person shop or a 500-person shop. I think
For
I
the
think it
yeah,
could be a fit.
for the SparkFlow product for sure, but I'd like to think that we're like that with anybody. I mean, we're here to work with our customers. We're here to
Sure.
solve problems, understand what the problem is, create a solution, and um, I think we're pretty reasonable. We try to be as fair as possible, and but there's different pricing models for SparkFlow. Um, there's subscription, there's like a monthly subscription, there's a more of a one-time plus maintenance model. There's just just if you just want 8 reports customized really quickly and you don't even necessarily need the SparkFlow product, you just want some reports. I mean, you don't have to necessarily use it. It's not, might not be for everybody. So
Sure. Sure. No, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, and the talent that you got with that acquisition, they're good to work with. I've only been working with them for 3 weeks or so, but definitely sharp people. So it's
we
good.
aimed,
Good assets to have.
yeah,
We
no, there's a lot of
we
talent,
we
it's it's obviously I'm biased, right? And it's a self-serving comment, but we really do we have a lot of very intelligent people, and um we work really hard to make sure that the people that we have are experts at what they do, that they're continuing to learn new technologies. This stuff's moving really fast. It's always moving fast. We always have to adapt. So making sure we have the right people doing the right things for the right projects. That's what keeps us going.
sure. So I think I want to touch on 2024. Um, so I mean, Leventus was born basically in the equipment finance industry, right? Um, but I would say our revenue stream has been traditionally not solely in equipment finance, right? It's only been a portion.
Sure.
But I would think that now when we're going to conferences and everything, it's people know who we are. I think we're going to end this year. We maybe will have 30 clients by the end of the year total.
Something like that. Yeah. I don't uh I don't count like that. But um yeah, I mean, to me, I think it's about I've been doing I- I've been doing this for 23 years, I think. 22 years, 23. Actually, probably like 35 because I was working when I was like 13. But um, I'm really there to just I like solving problems. I like working with people. I like making relationships, and I like trying to solve those problems with technology solutions. That's what I've done my whole life, and I think that when you just stick to that, you know, people realize that you're not there just to grab their money and grab a project and go to the next thing. You're really there to partner with them, and you're there to um, help them, and there's a sincerity behind that, and I think people are starting to see that, right? And you kind of have to build those relationships, and that's what I'm about. I think people want to do business with people, and when I shake someone's hand and give them my word that I'm going to make sure something's done, they better believe I'm going to make sure it's done. Uh, and I think that goes a long way. So that's how I do business. Um, And so just I think the more time we spend in any industry or with anybody, I guess the more clients we'll get from that.
Sure, sure. And Danielle's done a good job getting out there, and
Yeah,
the
she's
team
great.
itself. So you guys are investing in the space, and it's nice to see what you're doing paying off.
And one of I mean, there's a lot of reasons we're doing it, but we've been doing it for our sister company for forever, and just seeing so many people kind of see the technology that we've done there and saying, hey, that's amazing. I want that. That's the coolest thing. And seeing their jaw drops, Sam will give stories all the time. I had so-and-so in my office and his jaw dropped and he said, I want that. And it's like, maybe we did a pretty good job, because we really just focused on doing it for, to make them successful. We didn't really come at this trying to create solutions for everyone else. We're just, how do we make one thing successful? Um, and so you work really hard on any one thing, just keeps it just goes back to the original comment. You just continue to work hard at that one thing, and good things will happen from it. That's life lesson to everyone listening.
Sure, sure. And yeah, Sam's funny. He's like, oh yeah, what do you mean you're gonna show us everything? Yeah, we'll show you everything. It's like you want everything. And
Well,
it's like, well, you want 15 to 20 years worth of continual development. You can't just have that overnight.
exactly. And it's not because it's really when you build anything, there's so much thought that goes into it. And it's not just the thought around the foundation, or the physical task work to do it. It's the thought that goes into the business rules and the thought that goes to the nuances. And so Sam, and I agree with him, is very comfortable saying, hey, we'll show you what we have. We'll show you what we do, because we know how long it took us to think of everything. We know how long it took us to do it. We know the investment that's been put into it. And there's no way anyone's gonna, yeah, I mean, maybe someone can take little things here and there, but um, there's just too much. And it's not like we stopped innovating 5 years ago. It's like there's a backlog of 1,000 things of continual innovation and all the stuff we do.
Sure.
So, yeah, I think we're pretty comfortable showing people how we do things, what we've done. Um, and Sam, is certainly comfortable doing that.
And then it's you know, pivoting maybe from a traditional custom shop to maybe we'll start having some few little products here and there. So I think that helps too. It easily
Yeah,
solves
and I
the
use product. I use the term product loosely, but I mean, we accelerators is kind of the term I
that.
like to use, because it's, going back to that, everyone needs a little bit of customization. Um, we're just trying to make things faster and less expensive for the client, right? Go to market faster, uh, less custom, but still custom enough to get them what they want. And so then it becomes more repeatable. Um, so uh, product is more to say, like SparkFlow does have a product to it. But product companies are more traditional product companies, where they're charging you a monthly fee for things, and I don't know if we want that identity exactly like a product company. I'm not saying never, but
Oh,
the stuff we're
I mean, that's
building, we're looking at as accelerators.
no, that makes complete sense because yeah, I mean, you get a lot of people just like, oh yeah, I want this, 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 and it's like, well, what does that look like? It's like, well, you tell me what that looks like. So the accelerators actually help
Right.
um, that.
I mean, traditional custom, right? I mean, years ago or even today, if someone wants something from the ground up, it's going to be great. It's just going to take a little while, right? I mean, I guess to give an analogy, I'm always giving analogies. I had one client many years ago who used to make fun of me because I'd come up with all these crazy analogies because, he didn't really talk tech too well. But I guess the analogy is, you can build a custom home, right, from scratch, and you can design it, and you can go through that whole thing, and you're going to get exactly what you want. Just going to take a little bit longer. You can alternatively buy a spec home, right? But the in between there is you buy a spec home when it's half built, and then you start to customize it, right? Now
Sure.
you're gonna move in a lot faster. You're still gonna have almost exactly what you want. It's probably gonna be cheaper than if you did the whole thing from scratch. And it's you're kind of getting the best of both worlds there. And that's what we're trying to create.
Sure. And as someone who's built a house from the ground up, I think I'm
Me
good.
too. I have
I think I'm good. I think I'm good.
this the same client that used to make fun of me for all my analogies, said that, you have to do it 3 times to get it right. I built my house from the ground up too, and uh, you know, it's that was a process.
Oh, so
But
you got 2 more times to perfect it.
so
So
I mean, that's his theory. I don't know if I disagree with him. I think he's onto something, you know. But
Amy's probably like, no, no.
she has said no a couple times. Me, I'm just like, screw it. But no, I'm
Whatever.
um yeah.
So from a so I know one of the things that Liventus provides to the marketplace is like staff augmentation. That's a big part of the business. Are you seeing like a shift, Dan, in more people wanting to go staff aug or fractional employees? Um, are you seeing any shift in that?
I don't think there's a dramatic shift. I think it depends on the company size, where they're at. Staff augmentation, I'd say, is a lot more popular in the enterprise space when they have a lot of staff and they really just need to flex up, right? Um uh they have product owners and they have scrum masters and they have leads and they have architects and they just need, they need horsepower. They need more bodies. And that's much different than smaller companies that don't have any of those previous roles filled internally at the company. Maybe they just have one person, right? One person whose job it is to figure out how to create something or implement something, and they need all that additional help. So I think it depends on the size of the company for the most part. But it, I could tell you that there's, every large enterprise for the most part does staff augmentation. I mean, it's a very popular um, way, and there's a lot of benefits to it, right? I mean, it allows them to flex up and down. Obviously, it's more popular with overseas staff with our overseas office because it's less expensive.
Sure.
But it gives built-in redundancies and uh, um, which gives kind of this a load balancing, if you will, of labor. Excuse me. And it gives you the expertise, right? I mean, it's giving you expertise. It's giving you the foundation. We're dealing with all the training and the licenses and the HR pieces and all the stuff that's involved, making sure that they're experts, making sure that you don't miss a beat if someone leaves and also making it really quick and easy. You want to scale up, you need 10 more people in the next week or two. That's on us. We do it versus
Sure.
companies having to flex up and down with their own full-time employees and figure out how to train them and figure out how to um, monitor their productivity, how to underwrite them as an employee and as an expert. So all that stuff, that's what we're very good at in the staff aug role, in the staff aug world. Not to mention
Is
being on
there
top of all the emerging trends and, again, not to sound self-serving and try to be a salesperson. So go ahead. What were you going to say?
no, I mean, that's some of those trends and everything. That's what I was curious about. But I guess from a staff aug perspective, when I've worked on some projects in the past, um, if there's almost 100% staff aug, like, is there ever a concern for like a brain drain when the project's over?
What do you mean a brain drain?
So, we're say we're installing a system somewhere, right? Um, I don't know, did my camera go out? All right, we're good now. Say we're just working on some project for somebody and it's 10 contractors and maybe they don't even have uh, an owner for this line of business. Once the install happens and the contractors are done, if we're not staying there in like a fractional or still aug scenario, like from a brain drain, like there's no knowledge left. If all those, if they flexed up too much. I don't know if I'm asking this correctly.
So in other words, you're trying to say, if you do a project and you've got a lot of resources, you kind of go from 100% to 0.
Basically, yeah. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
we completed it, we installed it.
We're done.
Good luck. Have a good one.
So what's the question around that? Does that ever happen? Or
no, it's like I guess from like, how do companies avoid like, hey, wait a second, we don't have anyone that knew this thing that you guys just put in.
Oh,
Like their best
so
practices
like a
there.
knowledge transfer, right?
Basically, yeah.
I mean, we're there for whatever capacity people need. So typically, companies, and our clients will either have people that they want to take over, and it is a methodical process to say, okay, it is really hard to go from 100 to 0 because you do need that knowledge transfer and you do need to make sure that the dust settles before you just take all these critical resources that know everything and then just put them on other things, right? Ship them out.
Sure.
So
Sure.
we don't really do that. And that's not quite, I mean, staff aug is what you're talking about more is just more of a long-term project that was running at like that 100%. And then once it's deployed, it just goes to 0. And so that period of time is really what we refer to as like a post-development support period, where there's a methodical process to slow down those resources, right? So you're not going to go at 100%, but you're not going to go to 0. We want to at least have the bandwidth available to support it and do the knowledge transfer, make sure you can support it. Or a lot of the time, companies are just letting us support it because that makes the most sense for them or for at that time.
No, that makes complete sense. Thank you. Yeah, it was just more of a curiosity factor because we get into a lot of these companies who are on these different lease accounting platforms, and a lot of the people that were there are no longer there. so it's like, things weren't configured correctly, or it's like training, and it's just like,
yeah,
a lot of room for improvement.
So and that's a different problem. And so having, I mean, I'd like to think we're pretty good, but we are pretty good at making sure that there's always no single point of failure. There's always multiple redundancies. There's never just one person working on anything. It's it's team-based approaches. There's always you gotta lose a number of people for the full knowledge to disappear, right?
Yeah.
In the computer world, it's a RAID, right? You got an array of hard drives and you can afford to lose one at any given time. Just plug a new one in and it replicates the data enough. But if you lose like 2 or 3, yeah, that at the same time, then that could be trouble. But we operate in team environments and make sure that knowledge is shared and transferred and documented, and you have to account for that and timelines and milestones, and not overpromise the world and say, this thing's going to be done in a week, because if it's going to be done in a week, all that other stuff is going to have to, fall by the wayside. you can't have the documentation and the team environment, the knowledge transfer, and the good communication, and the you know, if we're just supposed to go at 1,000,000 miles an hour and do everything in a week, you can do it afterwards. So then it might just be a couple weeks to kind of clean up that part of it. But some of that stuff just takes time.
Thank you for that. And I want to shift gears if you don't mind. I think I've had you even on a Foundation Friday talking about the EBRP. I say that right?
EBRP.
EBRP.
Yeah.
So there's an upcoming virtual poker night in December.
Yeah.
Do you mind just kind of discussing what you're doing for Change for Charley, and
Yeah.
see if we can get some
So
more people in this industry on it?
I want to make sure I have the date right. So I have to look it up really quick.
I want to
But
say it's December
December
3rd.
3rd, December
Yeah.
3rd, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. So Change for Charlie's, okay, so where do I start? EB, epidermolysis bullosa, is a diabolical, horrible disease that no one's ever heard of, you know, and only few people can even pronounce. So EB for epidermolysis bullosa, EB for short. RP is research partnership. That's the main charity, and EB is where, you know, people are born with a lack of a protein that binds the skin together, and there's multiple variations of it, but you know, essentially you're lacking the protein. So imagine just living like a burn victim your whole life, right? From birth. You know, this is a disease you don't want to Google because it's really awful.
Yeah.
And it's a struggle, and it's a horrible, it, it's a rough existence for the people that have it, and for the families who take care of the kids that have it. You know, wrapping up your child like a burn victim every single day, and seeing them scream and just be in pain it's terrible. So the one of our I started doing work for the charity 10, or I don't even know, many years ago, and we became very good friends with a family around the corner from us, pretty much, whose child has it. And I have two kids, 13 and 11, and Charley is our family friend who lives with EB, and she's in between my kids, so she's 12. And we started this event. It's really, you know, it's their event, but I've always I helped start the first one, and helped in planning, and been on the board of all the ones since. And we threw an event called Change for Charley, where Scott Van Pelt, who is a fraternity brother of my friend Mike, who's Charley's dad. If you can follow all this, you know, good for you. But so Scott Van Pelt, you know, emceed that event and helped get involved, and we had a really successful event. And this was before COVID. This was 2017, and I think we raised, you know, 350,000 or something that night. It was a magical night. And I'll say, by the way, all the proceeds for our events go to EBRP, and those proceeds go to research. So the goal is, this is a genetic disease, and if you can wipe it out, you're really opening the door for other genetic research, other genetic disease research. If you can cure one genetic disease, you really can do a lot with other genetic diseases. So there's no stopping at just curing EB. This charity is quite special. It's also, I'll get back to Change for Charley in a second. I'll mention that it's venture philanthropy, and if you don't know what that means, think of like venture capital, right? But venture philanthropy. So all the money that this charity gets and gives to research, if that research ends up being something substantial and makes money from it, right, could lead to a drug which makes billions of dollars, that money is going to come back into the charity to fund more
Huh,
research and more genetic
interesting.
disease research. So it was one of the, venture philanthropy has been around for, I think, the concept for 30, 40 years, who knows, but EBRP
Hmm,
is one of the first to really uh, adapt it successfully. So
hmm,
it's created a model for other charities to do it. But
hmm,
going back to Change for
interesting.
Charley, that first event was super successful. The second event was super successful. We did a few in-person events. Then COVID hit and we went virtual. Um, and we're doing virtual this time around. We're hoping we'll do an in-person event next year, but this event's going to be a lot of fun. It's a virtual poker night. You can actually win real money. So obviously, whatever money you put in, whether you sponsor it or you just buy a ticket, that goes to charity. But you know, the first three, I think, the first three people who place are going to win real money. And you can, I don't know what the top prize is, but it's a few $1,000, I think, or a couple $1,000 or whatever it is. Um,
Sure.
so there's going to be a lot of uh, really good auction items, few celebrity guest appearances. I don't want to spoil who will be there, but there'll be some good entertainment. There will be if there's a second chance tournament if you're eliminated early. If you don't know how to play poker, there's going to be a spot for you to learn how to play poker. There's going to be a lounge where you can network and
I was gonna say,
see
if you just lose right away, can we just go and just
there's a second
virtually
chance.
drink? To,
Yeah, we kind of thought of that. There's a second chance bracket. I don't think we're doing additional buy-ins, but there's obviously going to be some really cool auction items. There's going to be some good entertainment. And so even if you don't play and you want to take part in the night, there's a ticket for like $150. You can um, uh, take part in the entertainment pieces and
cool.
bid on the bid on the items. We've already raised, we just started promoting it really, but we've already raised almost a couple $100,000. Um, so
Awesome.
we're, really is a fight to cure this thing, and and the research is I can't tell you enough. I mean, the research is critical and it's amazing, and uh, the stuff that they're doing is really it's really incredible. Um,
Sure.
so we kind of keep our fingers crossed that there's hope for Charley. You kind of have to believe that, and um, but again, I think that there's hope. This charity is going to make differences among a lot of other genetic diseases. So this is going to be a fun night. I hope people can come. I hope that they can have fun. Again, there's going to be some celebrity guests. There's going to be some entertainment. There's going to be good laughing. There's going to be probably some stories that make you cry. And as Jimmy V once said, I think that if you can laugh and you can cry and you can love in the same day, that's a pretty full day. So I think you'll have that in this day. So
Awesome.
yeah, wow,
Well,
I can talk a lot.
no, it's fine. No, I mean, it's you brought this well, not even like EB to my attention a couple of years ago, and that's
And
terrible.
thank you for your
Uh,
generous, yeah, thank you for your generous donation.
EF Cares
You're
is
gonna be
happy to.
playing? You're gonna be playing.
Oh yeah, yeah, but I'm not
Yeah.
gonna like. I'm the guy that would be like, oh, I got a pair of twos. You're going in. Let's go.
Hey, just have a good face, Just have a good poker face. The
You've been working with me for 2 years. Do I really have a good poker face?
no,
No,
probably you don't.
no, no.
But I'm the poker player that just like after a couple hours, I'll just say, screw this. I'm hungry. I'm going to bed. All in, right? Um,
Let's go. Let's go.
but what's funny is I did another charity event. I did a charity poker casino night. a couple years ago, and I didn't host it or anything. I was just a participant. And I was just like, yeah, I think it started at like 7 p.m. and I went with my wife and we were just like, hey, it'll be quick. We'll probably lose everything in like 20 minutes and we'll go to dinner. Right. So I kept going all in and I kept winning. And like halfway, so like an hour into it, I had like a huge stack of chips and I told my wife, I'm like, I think we're staying. I think we're gonna be the last people to leave because I think I'm gonna win this whole thing. Anyway, I won the whole thing. I ended up winning like $10,000, but it was charity dollars. So I got 10,000 charity dollars that I gave to EB, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. All right. Well, note to self: when you see Dan goes all in, maybe he just doesn't have good cards. He just wants to leave.
Yeah, it's true. Probably true for 80% of the people.
I want to go to a lounge and drink. I'm good.
Oh, so I guess for EB, by the way, so it is December, or the Change for Charley, it's December 3rd. But you can go to changeforcharley.org. So it's Charley, Ley.org. And even if
Uh,
you're listening to this a month from now, or 2 months from now, or 2 years from now, you can always go to that website and you can donate whenever you want if you want to get involved. Um, if you're a Pearl Jam fan like I am, you'll really like this charity too. So
I'll see if I can add a little clip in the when I'm editing with just the website on it. I'm
oh
only
yeah,
capable of doing so much, like
your
60
editing
seconds.
capabilities end at a little
Yeah,
banner across the bottom.
it's like a banner where it's like, hey, how do you get rid of that? I don't know. It's there. It's there. It's there. But
Yeah.
Dan, thank you for your time today, sir. Congrats on Sparkflow acquisition again. Congrats on another good year for the organization, and
Thank
looking
you.
forward to 2025.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, Jesse.
All right, sir. Have a good one.
You too.